If you have no job, I'm talking to you. If you have a job and you can't afford to pay the bills, I'm talking to you too. You are 73% of the workforce, 73% of the adults looking for a better deal in this country, and that makes you a majority. I'm offering you a better deal. Let me describe the situation. You don't make enough money to pay the bills, to pay your way in this economy. You see the credit card commercial where a pretty girl goes from shop to shop on a busy street in New York City. In every shop window she sees something she likes and she goes inside and she buys it. $70 shoes, $200 dress, designer handbag. You'd love to go shopping like that, but you never do. Because you know that if you did, if you put charges like that on your credit card, it would be years before you paid them off. And let me remind you, you are 73% of the grown-ups in this country, 73% of people trying to get a better deal. Nobody's buying things the way that young lady on television is buying things, because everyone in this company is substantially underpaid and unable to meet the normal demands of economic life in this economy. 73% of our population pay for their rent, their food, and their gas. Then they are tapped. At this point, the paycheck is gone, and young people live 3 and 4 and 6 to an apartment, unable to afford the ridiculous rent being charged by landlords who bought their apartment buildings at the top of the real estate boom and can't get over it. People actually pull up roots and move to the southern states to reduce the cost of heating the house in winter. And here's the future you have to look forward to. Elderly people who live alone are found routinely dead from the flu, dead of heat stroke, frozen to death, sitting in a chair in the front rooms of their lonely little houses. Our economy has abandoned the majority of Americans. The billionaires of this nation live in an ivory tower from which they conduct an orgy of spending. They bribe your senators and congressmen before you ever get a chance to vote for them, and when these paid lackeys use the money to get elected, they go into Congress and quietly guard and protect the laws which allow the richest people in this nation to bring their foreign-made products and sub-assemblies into this country and never pay one dime in tariff. 60% of our manufacturing sector has gone out of business in 27 years. They've moved to another country. The law encourages them to do this. The law punishes them if they stay. That's why there's such an enormous difference between your salary and the price of things you have to buy in order to live here. You cannot go to your boss and say, everything costs more than I can afford, I need a raise. For 80% of Americans, your boss will throw his hands in the air and say, what am I supposed to do? I'm not making any money either. This is because 80% of Americans are crammed into service sector business. Service sector business is overcrowded and overcompetitive. They've lost all those big manufacturing customers, the equivalent of 30% of the national economy. Because there's so much competition, it is a rare thing for a service sector business to be making big profits. The boss may lease a Mercedes, he may put his kids in an expensive school in a desperate attempt to look successful, but the reality is he's spending more money on advertising and getting less traffic for his investment. Customers come in and negotiate with him. They tell him the price is lower down the street, and most of the time he lowers his price. Every time this happens, your raise goes out the window. The only Americans who are making money in this economy are the importers, and that includes the oil companies and American manufacturing firms who built their factories in Mexico and China and Indonesia and the Middle East. Now, there are two things government can do to manage this. One way is price controls, but price controls are ridiculously expensive. We would have to raise taxes in order to hire enough policemen to monitor the price of things in every store. It is much simpler and more profitable, both for the American people and for the government, to charge a tariff on imported products and sub-assemblies. Not food, not raw materials. Only on the products of factories. If we charge a tariff on imported finished products and sub-assemblies sufficient to raise the price of those goods to about 90% of the retail cost of manufacturing those products in the United States, the cowardly American investor will come out of his hole and for the first time will invest in a new manufacturing facility inside this country. That's what we want to build in the United States, the newest, most modern, most efficient manufacturing facilities in the world. They will be environmentally safe. They will be safe workplaces for the employees. Now, manufacturing managers demand steady and stable people who come to work on time and ready to do the job. In return, they provide a steady and stable salary, which is sufficient to meet at the very least the survival and security needs of an employee so he will not be distracted by an eviction, by his own inability to buy clothing and gasoline. A manufacturing manager does not call you on Wednesday evening and say, "Don't come in Thursday or Friday, we don't need you." He needs you every day because he has scheduled the materials, the other workers are there, and the assembly line is moving. As more and more factories are built across this nation, people will leave their underpaid positions in the service sector and move into manufacturing. Business owners will sell their unprofitable service sector businesses and move into manufacturing, perhaps as supervisors, managers, or marketing personnel. Competition will ease in the service sector, and those who remain in service sector will make more money for three reasons. First, they will be fighting fewer competitors. Second, there will be more well-paid factory workers with expendable capital willing to become customers. Third, the factory itself will become a customer to some service sector business, and this will bring a huge turnaround in profitability for those who can render services to a factory. We need to go through our tax and tariff laws and the whole code of federal regulations, line by line, and find all the changes that have been made which extend financial favoritism to those who build their factories in foreign countries. We need to reverse that favoritism. We need to show that kind of favoritism to those who are proud of America, to those who wish to build a factory in the United States and to train and employ American citizens. We need to direct some of the prosperity of this country into the pockets of the majority, into the pockets of the 73% who actually do the work that keeps this sucker moving. And to those who say, what about the American factories in Mexico and China and Indonesia? Won't they go out of business if you charge a tariff on all manufactured products and sub-assemblies? Well, it depends on the quality of their product, doesn't it? Because here in the United States, we're going to be making the very best quality products in the entire world. Our national adjustable tariff system will raise the price of all that cheap crap that flows into this country to an estimated 85 or 90% of the price it would cost if it were made in the United States. American products will sell for 100%. They might sell for 110%. Now we've all had the experience of buying a Chinese product. It stops working or breaks in less than a year, and we never buy that product again. I am confident that when the price of Chinese junk is 85% of the price of the same product made in the USA, any American or European with an IQ over 50 will probably buy American. And remember this, when American workers are well paid, we are the biggest market in the world. We are the driver for the world's economy. We should charge a tariff. It is a privilege to sell your low-quality, foreign-made crap in the United States. You should pay for that privilege. Or move your factory back here and hire Americans, as Toyota has done, as Honda has done, as Hyundai has done. I am Quixote. I bring you prosperity, but I'll have to be a write-in candidate. Can you spell Quixote? Better practice if you want a better deal.